Welcome back! Chris is eating. Welcome back to Bearded Brothers, yet another sports podcast. I've had a better week this week, so I know with at least 50% certainty that I'm Matt. He's got his mouth full, so Ronald McDonald over there is probably Chris. And
I had a really good week. Whee!
And there's Mom bringing in the bird.
Yep, he's apparently pissing her off.
She gave us the bird.
She did. She gave us the bird.
She gave us the bird.
Bird was apparently biting her.
Yeah. Not a good thing to do. Mom's not going to put up with that.
I don't either, though. So.
There you go. He'll learn, hopefully.
No.
All right. So, as we were saying, welcome back. Yet another sports podcast. So, there have been things that happened, but there's also been a lot of things that haven't happened.
A lot of things that haven't happened.
No, they haven't. The Damian Lillard trade hasn't happened yet.
Nope.
Everyone
thought it was going to.
And everybody, now we're all waiting. The Alex DeBrincat trade hasn't happened yet. In hockey. Everybody's waiting for that to drop. So, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that everybody's kind of waiting on. And then I feel like free agency will move again. But right now,
Probably. Everyone's waiting on the big names.
Yeah, everybody's waiting on the big names to finish up. And it doesn't help that in, hockey free agency, one of the big fish that's left is, of course, why did I just have his name and I forgot it already? He was even traded this year. God damn my brain right now.
Unfortunately, don't follow
Tarasenko.
enough hockey. Yes.
Tarasenko. Switched agents.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. Okay.
Yep. Vladislav Tarasenko has switched agents in the middle of free agency.
That's not a good sign.
No! I don't know that that's a good sign at all.
If you swap agency, that means you are really unhappy with the current agents you have.
That is very true.
You
so
almost
just going
never
over,
even hear about that.
Yeah, Tarasenko swapped agents, but just going over because I know we talked about a lot of deals last week, but I don't know
There
if
were
we
so
got
many.
all of them.
I think we got most of them, but I don't know if we got all of them.
We did get a lot of them, but I don't know if we got all of them because there were a couple of interesting ones, and I don't remember when they dropped.
Mhm.
Got it. What day? Did that drop later in the evening? That might have, because I think we recorded the first.
Yes.
These are things that dropped the second then.
Okay.
So, the biggest news is that the Maple Leafs have signed both Tyler Bertuzzi and Max Domi. So now there is another Domi in Toronto. For those that don't know, Ty Domi, the Albanian assassin, played in Toronto. To me, Ty Domi's greatest moment will always be the day that he knocked the absolute piss out of Ulf Samuelsson. Ulf Samuelsson was an agitator, and he's the reason that, for anybody that doesn't know, Cam Neely retired early because of a knee-on-knee hit from Ulf Samuelsson. And he was screwing with Ty Domi. You gotta understand, Ty Domi is this short little dude, and Samuelsson's a big guy. Ty just throws his gloves off, turns around, and punches him twice in the face, and Samuelsson goes over like a sack of bricks. Oh, it was so funny.
Yep.
But yes, they got both Bertuzzi and Domi. The Maple Leafs are making a point to attempt to get tougher.
I don't know if it'll work, but I like what they're trying to do.
I do too. I highly appreciate it. It's 1-year deals for each of them. I highly appreciate both of them being there. I think that helps them quite a bit. that's to me that's a lot of good in their corner. Yeah. Those are the big ones, obviously. There's still questions about what the Leafs are going to do now. There are rumors about Carlson being traded. There's a couple of teams that are highly interested in him, but it doesn't look like the Sharks want to do a full 50% retain on his salary, which is, by the way, ridiculous. But with some creative maneuvering, maybe they could find another partner and do a partial retain and get somebody else to partially retain and bring that hit down to something manageable. It's been talked about because Kyle Dubas, obviously with the Penguins now, mentioned that he would want to do his due diligence and see if it wouldn't be possible to find a way to get Erik Karlsson. And he's also been linked with the Seattle Kraken, who have a lot of defensemen coming off the books. And they're a very good young team that made a run last year. If you add somebody like Karlsson to that mix...
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a fan of the Kraken. It's a cool name with dope-ass jersey.
I was going to say, cool name, dope-ass jerseys. I like their mascot.
Yeah.
And I always like to root for an underdog.
Exactly. So I'm kind of cool with that.
Yeah,
Go for
me
it.
too.
You do yourself, Kraken.
Do yourself. Do your thing. I will also say that of the notable unsigns, we've already mentioned one, and that's because he changed his agent. There is a 28-year-old right shot defenseman still available. Matt Dumba.
Oh, Dumba, that's right.
Dumba is still on the market. Nobody has picked him up yet.
I've heard rumors. I've heard that if no one picks him up, that he'd be willing to take a pay cut to stay.
I've heard that rumor. He's been linked with Arizona, and there were a couple of places he got linked with that could use it. There's also, let me see here, one of the guys who was drafted really highly for the Red Wings. He cleared waivers and has been cut entirely from the team. Now he's young yet, but he's just never stuck in the Detroit lineup. And with the way they structured his contract, if he didn't stick, it was going to hurt, and they were going to have to, you know what I mean? So, and that ended up happening. Now, that doesn't mean that he's done with hockey. The question now is, where does he go? Yeah.
Who still has interest?
And because he's young yet, there's a couple of teams that could use him. It was mentioned the Ducks would probably make a play at him. But somebody said a high draft pick who hasn't lived up to his potential yet, who could be basically playing on league minimum. So when does he sign with Tampa? And on what line is he going to play?
It's going to happen, probably.
Tampa loves to do that kind of crap.
The thing is that 90% of the time seems to work out for him. I don't know how. They just somehow get the correct calls.
Nobody knows how. They're so lucky with that.
I don't know if they have do they have a coach whisperer that just somehow is good with young talent? I don't know, man.
I don't know, man, but you know what? More power to them. Now, Tampa did go out, and I think they got another goalie.
Did they really?
Yeah. And the reason why is because last year, if you look at how many games they played Vasilevsky, because he was the only real option in net. Now they tried to get him a backup that could take maybe 5 or 6 games from him. You know, right. let him rest a little bit more so that he's not completely obliterated by the time you get to the playoffs.
Because that's really what hurt him, is that he was just so drained by the time they got to playoffs.
Yes. That is 100% what happened to them. I hate to say it, but yeah. I think everybody knew that's what happened. So...
if you just look at their games early and then comparatively to the playoff games, you can just tell that everybody just seemed more tired.
Yes, 100%. So it's been an interesting off season for people. A lot more small stuff has happened. Nothing big. Like the biggest thing, like I don't even see. The biggest one so far is probably Anze Kopitar, who agreed to a 2-year extension with the Kings.
Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough, I guess.
Fair enough. So that all happened. Now, shifting gears, let's talk a little bit of NBA, because there was some interesting crap that happened there. So
the NBA is a weird world that I just only glimpse into once in a while and go, the fuck they doing over there?
Well, let's start with the news that isn't news yet, which is Damian Lillard is still waiting for a trade.
Dude, he might not even get one, to be honest. He should.
They want to do right by him, but they also want to do... People around the situation have described it as the Pacers management team, the general manager. There's no emotion and no sentiment involved in this. He's not angry about it. It's a business transaction.
It's a business, yeah. It's business.
And he wants to make the best business transaction he can with a high value asset. So trying to find that is going to be the difficult part. Now, there was some interesting news involving the league's #1 pick. Wembanyama, I believe is how you say his name.
Couldn't tell you.
Wemby. Apparently, there was an altercation with Britney Spears.
Hold on. I think I need... My brain needs to hold off from the mental flashbang I just had. Okay, Britney Spears hasn't been relevant in a while. That's why I had to have, like, a mental flashbang.
Well,
like,
she's been
like,
on,
wait a minute, fuck, oh, shit. Okay.
What is it, X Factor or something?
I know, but, like, I haven't, like... I just haven't heard much from her in, like, forever.
Well,
so it's just... Again, it's just, like, the mental flashback of, like, wait, she's still relevant. Fuck.
Something happened. I still don't know the entire details. But it was alleged that either Wemby or his bodyguard may have struck her in the face.
More likely bodyguard, I would hope, because at least
that is not what happened. Apparently she reached for Wemby or something. I don't know exactly what the details were, but when the bodyguard tried to, deflect her, she hit herself in the face.
In the face.
So no charges will be filed.
Basically, he pushed the hand away and she went, ah!
Yes, that's kind of what, understandably from the video, that's exactly what happened. So
fair enough.
No charges will actually be filed there. And then Wemby went out and he's played his first NBA Summer League game, and he had 9 points. Ouch.
To be fair, it's not uncommon.
No, but... It's the #1 pick, and as big as he is, and he even described it as, it's kind of a learning experience.
Yeah, there's that, and then the NBA as well, when it comes to drafting is, we talk about how volatile it is to draft in the first round for NFL, but they hit quite often on pretty good, within the first round, quite often most teams will hit, I would say, at least half the time, probably more than that. NBA is all over the place.
Yeah.
Even hockey is even a little bit better in that respect.
And actually, I was going to bring that up, but we'll bring it up in a minute here. I heard something about the spike in hockey is for where you get good picks and where you're succeeding at is growing.
Yeah.
But NBA is very much, people get overlooked for a variety of odd reasons, and they get
it's almost like the scouting is not really great or something. I don't know.
Well, and it's also, how do you determine the level of competition of the leagues?
That's true, yeah.
And then, so you still look at size, and Wemby is 7'3" or something. He's huge.
They're looking at more physical attributes quite often.
And and potentially what a ceiling could be for somebody with those physical attributes.
I
It's
get
a
it,
little
but
easier
quite often
to
that's
scout certain college players, but you have to bank on them fulfilling their full potential once they hit the NBA. Because there is only 1 year necessary of college to play in the NBA, a lot
less film.
there's not a lot of film, so you have to go by what you've seen, you have to go by what you're looking at, and then you have to bank that they're going to be able to grow and produce more. If you had a thing like the NFL where you had to be at least a junior to declare, had to go through your junior season before you could declare, then you would have at least 3 seasons worth of film to watch on most of these kids, and you could determine which ones were going to be worth it and which ones weren't.
Exactly. And I think that makes sense. I don't know why. There's been more and more of a push to lower the age allowed for players to draft for all sports. Like, I heard people wanted to be drafted right out of high school for basketball. I just don't get it.
In the NBA, for a long time, they were.
I know. I don't get it.
LeBron James drafted right out of high school.
Which some players you can just tell right away. Like, that's fair. There are some players that are just exceptional in that way where you can just tell they're going to be good. But there's a lot that don't fit in that pool that still get drafted in that pool. That makes no sense to me.
Because they're drafting for what they flashed so far and what they think the ceiling could be.
Exactly. And that's why I don't think lowering the age is the priority. I think what the NFL has done should be the benchmark, in my opinion.
I agree.
But that's just me.
The only sport that's a little different in that is baseball, and the only reason why I say that is because there is, unlike in basketball, there is a ridiculously deep farm system in baseball.
Exactly. I'm okay with baseball because they have the double A and they have
single A,
single A, and
single A, double A, triple A.
They have so many organizations in a way to bring up talent that it really isn't a big deal.
No, it isn't.
Even hockey has that to a degree, which is why I'm okay with hockey as well.
Yes. So basketball doesn't have that, though. They used to have the D League, but that went away. If you had another league, a trainer...
And the NFL uses the collegiate for that, so, yeah.
Yeah, they use... And the NFL uses collegiates for that. If the NBA wanted to do something like that... So either, if you're going to draft out of high school, you have to have a secondary league, something where people can hone their skills. Or you have to... You either have to do that, or you have to increase the age at which they can be drafted, so that way they have to be at least juniors... have finished a junior year in high school before they could be drafted, or junior year in college before they could be drafted, because then you can at least know what you're getting. Otherwise, you're going to have, this very system where it's boom, bust, and people are going everywhere. Like, I hate to say it, but if you look at like some of the people that have succeeded, Draymond Green was a second-round pick.
There's that to remember, but you also have to remember just that if you're looking at the draft numbers, just for like how many even viewers that you're going to get to look at your draft. I mean, there's a reason why the NBA draft isn't highly watched as much as the others. It's not as entertaining because there's a lot more. First off, the way they draft is kind of silly, and second, when you have so many boom busts, there's so many like things that don't make sense, and there's a lot of like question marks. And it's all over the place, and it just isn't fun to watch.
And it's very hard to get excited about any of these people because are they actually going to be any good? Like my biggest gripe and grief ever with the Minnesota Timberwolves is who they passed over 1 year for other players that. One of them stuck around for a while, but didn't pan out to be as good as he should have been. And the other one never panned out. I forget the exact year, but they took Ricky Rubio from Spain, who took forever to come over, get him out of his Juventus contract. And they took Johnny Flynn from Syracuse. Do you know who they passed over and who went with the next pick?
No.
Steph Curry.
Of course they did. Makes sense.
That's the kind of thing that upsets me. Like, you look at that and you go, oh, God, what?
Right there.
Why?
Right there. Granted, don't worry, we would have ruined him anyway, so.
Probably, knowing the Timberwolves. let's be honest here.
Like, honestly, there's a reason why I rate them as the worst Minnesota sports team that we have. Like,
for a long time, they have been. We've only made the playoffs a few times. And we've only made one real deep playoff run. Mm-hmm. And we haven't ever duplicated that success again. And a lot of that has to do with Glenn Taylor.
Wasn't this also the first year where we didn't get 3-0'd in the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that should tell you something.
We actually made a very...
We celebrated it! We celebrated the fact that we didn't get 3-0'd!
We actually went all the way to the conference championships before we lost. I think we got beat by LA.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a team that was like basically like, I think it was Wally Szczerbiak, Sam Cassell, and Kevin Garnett.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So, but Glenn Taylor didn't want to pay certain people, and so they left, and so Garnett wound up requesting a trade.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anyway, and then eventually now Taylor is slowly selling off the team to an ownership group that includes A-Fraud? Whatever. Point is, I have no idea what's going on with the Timberwolves anymore.
Who cares? They suck.
Yeah. A lot of rumors that they should trade Towns, but again, I don't know what this team is doing anymore.
Yeah, they could, but like, why? Like, he's the only thing that's bringing you people to even watch your damn sport. So, like,
well, Gobert now, and
that's true.
The
but
young
Towns was the big one for Timberwolves for a while, though.
Yeah, Gobert, and now also, hold on, I'll look up his name because he just signed a max rookie extension with us.
Okay. Excuse me.
I'll get his name. He was
I'm
like the first overall pick
from
a couple of years back.
I mean, the Timberwolves there's so many question marks for me. Like, they could move off of Towns, and would it really affect us that badly? Yeah, probably. It probably would have reduced overall playing, but at the same time, it's like, I guess if you get a good trade for him maybe, but like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I get where you're coming from on that. Anthony Edwards.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Edwards has agreed to a 5-year max deal at $260.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just know that Towns is like the big one, though, that everyone like knows.
Yeah, but he's starting to get a little older, and you have Gobert now, and you got Nazir Muhammad, who's also a center, and it's like, okay, how are you going to, what's the rotation here with all these big centers that you have? Are you going to slide one of them to power forward, and how are you going to play all this? And
who knows?
And you need a point guard. I don't know. There's a lot that's
going on. They don't know what
there.
they're doing, man.
No, they really don't. That's the problem. As I mentioned, the picks of the NHL draft now, they're noticing that the picks that are starting to produce and actually be able to make and stick NHL rosters are like all the way down to about 25 now. They're finding that there's a lot of picks from that area that, because it used to be like 5 and then you could see that curve start to kind of fall off. Now it's all the way down to about, you get it down to about 25 before it starts falling, and then weirdly down at about 75 again it spikes back out and then drops off again.
Drops way off again.
Yeah, but scouting is getting a lot better. People aren't looking for, because the way they used to draft in the past was they're looking for a dude with a big body that they can teach to play hockey.
Yep.
Now they're looking for people who already know how to play hockey.
Yeah.
That they can teach to do other things.
Mm-hmm.
You're not necessarily just looking for the biggest broadest guy on the planet.
We're not looking for the big guy who can just punch somebody out, right?
Yeah. So that is allowing, that is changing how many people are sticking in the early rounds, making those first round draft picks more valuable.
More valuable.
Yep. That's something that somebody put together a graph on that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like that.
Yep.
The data only went to 2017 because anything after that is still too young to really
grade it properly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that because, like, I think that the NHL drafting has just been, over the last couple of years, has been more interesting to watch. I still think their format sucks balls, but it's been more interesting to watch just because you know that the first several picks are going to be probably worth at least somewhat where their pick's at.
This last one was really interesting because I almost feel like there's almost like that entire first round potentially could stick.
Could stick, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, even if you don't grade them at like the proper, like, even if you say that like the second overall pick wasn't good enough to be the second, but he was good enough to be the 15th, good enough in my opinion. Like, as long as you hit in the first round, and they were graded for a first round, you're good.
That's how I look at it too. Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see if that trend continues, and if it does, I think it's going to be good for the sport.
And that's why the NFL is fun to watch because like the first round is almost always good hits.
Not always, but yeah.
I said not always, but more often than not, they typically tend to be pretty good hits. And even the second and third rounds typically are pretty interesting for the most part nowadays.
Now, I will also say that very recently, women's hockey has undergone a massive shift. As the PWHPA the PWHA and another league have finally agreed on the merger, and they are going to form one women's league now.
I mean, took them long enough.
Well, and it was... The thing is, at this point now, the NHL has always said that the only way they're going to back a women's league is if there is one women's league that is the dominant women's league. And now that they have that, the NHL can begin to funnel some money towards it.
They can. Will they, though?
They could.
Probably not a lot.
But they will a little bit.
I just know the NHL. They'll do whatever, like, put it this way. Bettman will look at it and go, business. How much income am I going to get? How much return could I possibly get back out of this?
And it's not even that for him. That's what the owners are going to do, and then they're going to tell Bettman what their decision is, and he's going to monkey it, parrot it, because Bettman has no spine.
No. But you get what my point is, though. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, there will be money, but it won't be substantial money. Don't expect much.
No, but they could, now you could potentially start getting them on, they could use the NFL TV network and stuff like that, or the NHL TV network and stuff like that.
They theoretically should and could, but we'll see how that all plays out.
Yep. But anyway, that's something else I wanted to bring up because I think that was a very important piece of news and information that I wanted to talk about. Another piece of wacky news that happened is apparently Tom Brady is now $30 million poorer and being sued.
Who gives a shit? The guy who has so much fucking money.
Well, apparently, he was a spokesperson for...
He was a spokesperson for one of those crypto things, yeah.
Crypto things, yeah. FTX.
It was the FTX thing, yeah.
And it went bankrupt.
Yeah, it went bankrupt. Here's the thing. A lot of celebrities were in on that. He will probably not get slapped as hard as you think he will. He'll get slapped, but it won't be as bad as it sounds right now. Well, because a lot of the
non-celebrities who invested in it are now trying to get their ROI back out of the celebrities who endorsed it and are saying that they didn't vet FTX hard enough before they started, propping it up.
But at the same time, like, it's going to be hard. Like, I'm just saying, I would not be surprised if judges are not going to, like, that money is going to be significantly reduced.
Also, his wife lost some money. Ex-wife lost some money in that as well. Because
not as much.
$18 million, I believe.
Yeah. And that'll probably even drop even more.
Yeah.
Because she only had a small hand in it, from my understanding.
Yeah, she only had a small amount of shares that she got in the divorce.
Yeah. So frankly, for her, she was just like, whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. So
Yeah,
I mean, I know he's got a lot of money, but
he's got laugh money. So
that
it
is
doesn't
one
really
of those
matter.
things that I did want to bring up because I feel like, okay, it's something.
Everybody remembers the commercials. We saw those commercials.
Yeah,
The minute I
everybody
saw the
remembers.
FTX stuff, I was like, this seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, because if this doesn't go well, what are you going to do now?
I don't know why so many celebrities got in on that. Whoever convinced those celebrities has got a real silver tongue. I'll tell you what.
Actually, he is currently being investigated for fraud by
silver tongue sounds
by
about right.
the government.
Yep, silver tongue
Yeah.
sounds about right.
It's pretty big. This feels like a Madoff pawn scheme.
Ponzi scheme. Yeah.
Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
By the way,
somebody who really knew
I
what he
do
was
want to
doing.
bring that up because that's something that I will never understand. You trusted a money guy named Madoff.
And his last name's Ponzi.
No, his last name is Madoff.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was What
Bernie
Who was the
Madoff.
one? Who was the one that came up with? There was a guy that I'm trying to remember who the Ponzi where the Ponzi came from. Somebody coined that term, and I'm trying to remember where that came from.
But the idea to me is,
Anyways,
does he have to be from the law firm of Do We Fuck You and How? He's an embezzler named Madoff. I mean, come on, you can't write that. I will thank Robin Williams.
I could make a
that.
lot of dark jokes based on that last name too, but I'm not going to. Because some people might say that might be a little not okay.
I will say thank you, Robin Williams. Rest in peace for making that joke and bringing it to my attention.
Yep.
All right. This week we are going to talk about East Coast.
East Coast.
East Coast.
East-
East Coast. No longer the least division.
True.
For a long time, we used to say the NFC East was the NFC least.
Least.
Yeah, they were bad. And the AFC East was dominated by one team and everybody else could suck it.
It's true.
Let's be honest.
It was. It's true.
But now, these divisions are actually competitive and interesting.
They're competitive, but
Only so much.
I still think that there's in both divisions
There's
one
at
team
least
that's
one team
clearly
that's-
above the rest.
Yes, and I'm sure we agree on both of them. So
Probably.
let's talk NFC first. Let's
Okay.
start with the team that obviously we know leads that division, and that's going to be the team that Chris and I both don't really like. The Eagles.
The Eagles.
Last season, they had the 8th ranked passing offense, the 5th ranked rushing offense, the 1st ranked passing defense, and only the 16th ranked rushing defense.
They got better though.
Oh, good God, did they get better. I don't know how, but they kept the band together and added to make themselves better.
I don't know how they got away with that.
I don't know how they got away with that. But, I mean, come on. They got probably the best defensive tackle in the draft from Georgia. They wound up getting another linebacker behind everybody else. They wound up trading for DeAndre Swift to get better. It's like, how did you guys let them do this? And they get, no, that was the line. No, yeah, they got better all around. There's no question in my mind that they got better.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything you want to add to what I've said, Chris?
I'm depressed. But no, I don't have nothing else to add to that.
All right, so ceiling floor, what do you got?
God.
You hate to do this, don't you?
Yeah, I do actually. So I have their ceiling at 14 wins. And I have their floor at 11 because I do not see a way that they somehow drop below that.
You are one off from me on both of those. I have the ceiling at 15 and the floor at 12. My literal prognosis, Super Bowl or bust.
Mm-hmm.
They're going back. They're going to go.
They're
all
probably
out
going
to
back.
They're probably going back this year.
Unless they get stopped in the playoffs, like they're
Unless
guaranteed
they
playoffs
lose,
at this point.
like Jalen Hurts gets hurt.
Even then, I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah, but they didn't look so well when they had Minshew in there last year, and I don't know who their backup is now. But the point is
it Nick Foles again?
I would laugh because if it is, they're totally going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh wait, no, Nick Foles is with. Oh wait, where is Nick Foles now?
I don't even know anymore.
Is he with the? I don't remember where he went. Is he within Indianapolis? I think he's within Indianapolis, right? Hold on. Oh wait, no, he got released by Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he even has a team now. Then.
Oh, he might be a free agent. So the Eagles could totally sign him.
They need a backup QB. They have him. They have a statue of him. You might as well.
Okay, so that's the team that's the cut above. Now we get into the nitty gritty, which is going to be a slugfest for everything else.
Yeah, I think everything else is going to be more sluggy.
Except for the team at the bottom. The other two teams are going to slug it out, and even they could do something, and it's going to depend.
I don't know. That even that bottom team still, I have some faith in, actually, a weird way.
So let's talk Cowboys.
I don't like them either.
I really don't.
You know what? The more I'm learning, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I just don't like the NFC East, I think.
Cowboys passing offense last year 18th, rushing offense 8th, passing defense 8th, rushing defense 22nd. So they added a new receiver to help Dak. They got rid of Zeke and committed to Pollard. Probably a pretty good idea.
Nope.
They added Stephon Gilmore to an already stacked secondary.
Yep. The secondary is very good right now.
And their new DT Mozzie Smith should help a bad run defense become at least average.
Hopefully average, yeah.
Hopefully. We can hope.
I just have so many issues with this Cowboys team because to me it's clearly a team that's been built to be a powerhouse offense with an okay defense, mostly in the secondary. And what they have shown is that while they do have some power at offense, you have major weaknesses. Dak is not the guy who can lead you all the way. I don't think he can because he's shown several times that he's far too injury prone and tends to be injured, at least somewhat, every goddamn season.
Especially, and he wasn't until he suffered that big injury. Mm-hmm. And after then,
I'm sorry to say it, but it's just clear to me that you paid way too much.
You definitely paid way too much for Zeke.
Yep. And Dak is a very, very good QB. I'm not going to knock him because he's not a bad QB, but the system he's put in with the coaching staff that they have, with the and the ownership, I'm not a big fan of because Jerry Jones honestly seems to have gotten senile as he's gotten older. I'm wishy-washy on the Cowboys like every year because it's the same story. It's the same story every year. It hasn't changed in like a decade. Different QBs, different coaches, same fucking story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay team, mostly on offense that just can't ever finish it out. So with that being said, my ceiling is going to be set at 11 because they do have a legitimate chance to go pretty decent and have a good season. But if Dak gets injured, who the fuck is playing backup QB? Because if it's Cooper Rush again, I hate to tell you, 5 wins is your floor.
I don't think it's Cooper Rush.
I thought it was, but I could be wrong.
Now. But my ceiling for them is 12 because I like Pollard better than I like Zeke, and I think
I agree with that.
And also adding in the deep threat from Houston that they got.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of that, and then Stephon Gilmore to that stacked secondary makes that even better. So I
fair.
think you got a chance for 12. And I think even without Dak, if you could feature the run game, then you still got a floor of like 9.
That's fair. I'm just worried that without Dak, no one to throw the ball and all you guys the running game, you're going to get found out way too quick.
We'll see. It could be interesting. Let's move northward a little bit.
Hmm?
Giants, last season, 27th in passing offense, 4th in rushing offense, 15th in passing defense, middle of the pack, 27th in rushing defense.
Yeah, that's where they now granted, they got definitely better in the draft, but yeah, their rushing defense is where they really had problems.
Now, they did add stuff to help with the rushing defense. They also added a bunch of new receivers. They brought in what's his name, Waller from Oakland,
Waller, yeah, from
Las Vegas.
Darren Waller, yep.
Darren Waller. They also got Jalen Hyatt in the draft.
Jalen Hyatt,
They
yep.
added another cornerback in the draft, I believe.
Yes.
And so they should be better, but
Yeah.
much rests on Daniel Jones being that guy.
So, I actually had a weird take on this one. And you're right, there is questions on Daniel Jones, right? You need Daniel Jones to be able to play the QB position he was expected to be able to play when he was drafted and where he was drafted at.
Mm-hmm.
And what I will say is he does have the talent. He clearly has the legs. He can move, and he does have a good arm when he does use it. I think there are still some accuracy issues, but I think they got vastly improved last season. And I have actually a lot of faith in Brian Dable because he brought out the best in that team when no one else could. And if you can take a semi-bad team and have them completely believe in you and your system, you can draw out the best in a lot of players. And I think Brian Dable has not only done that with a lot of his locker room, with his entire locker room, I think he's also done that with Daniel Jones. And I think we're going to see Daniel Jones make bigger strides in this offseason than we've ever seen. I could be wrong because I still have a lot of questions on Daniel Jones, and I am worried that that might not happen. But if there is somebody who can do it, it's going to be Brian Dable. So, with that being said, their ceiling is 12 games. I legitimately believe that Brian Dable could take this team and make them super successful. However, if Daniel Jones is still Daniel Jones, you'll probably have a floor of like 9-10 games again. Probably 9 games. Like, you might squeak in the playoffs again, and you might be able to make okay run, but Daniel Jones is still Daniel Jones.
I have their ceiling at 11. I have their floor at 8. If Daniel
Again, similar.
Jones, if all of this team holds together, you still got to compete against the Eagles and a whole bunch of stuff, and there's still
right.
questions, and you still got Saquon's contract to deal with. But you can get legitimately. I don't know if the defense has improved enough to get you more than about 11 wins. They've improved. I just don't think they've improved enough. But if Jones isn't the guy, I think 8 is about is about where you're going to be.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the most mystifying team.
Oh, God, I love this team so much, though.
I don't know what to make of them.
I
I'm not
love
sure.
them because I don't know what they are.
They don't know what they fucking are.
There's rumors that they might even... have you heard the rumors that they might actually change their name again?
Yes.
To be fair, you probably should. That name's pretty shit.
Well, it's funny because Tom Grossi already made fun of that.
Exactly.
He got the new Commander's jersey as Wildflower, and he got Wildflower in the back, and he says, I'm buying in. Oh, wait. They're not going to change the name again, are they?
Are they? I love
Probably.
that. Literally, the only reason I love the Commanders is Wildflower. That's the only
my
reason I
God.
like that team at all.
I love that
Wildflower is
character
such
so
a
much.
fantastic character.
The best part is he has fans that now do that character back to him.
Well, hello there. How are you doing today, officer? It's an easy voice to go into. It's hilarious.
So, last season, passing offense, 22nd. About what you would expect from Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
Rushing offense, 12th. Okay, that's respectable. Passing defense, 4th. Rushing defense, 11th. So kind of what we expect out of Washington, which is they have a really good defense and no offense.
Pretty much.
Which that back in the day, these types of numbers would maybe have gotten you a Super Bowl. Because if you'll remember, way back in the day, the Panthers' first time to the Super Bowl, they were led by quarterback Jake Delhomme. But they had Stephen Davis as the running back, and their defense was ridiculously good. They got beat, but they made it there.
But they were really good. Yeah.
They literally had Stephen Davis to carry the team, and then a defense that would clamp down on you. They had no passing game. So This is an old school style approach, but it doesn't work in today's NFL. Now they did get a new offensive coordinator. They brought in
Bieniemy.
Yeah, Bieniemy.
Eric
Bieniemy.
Who's also tapped to basically be the next head coach. It's gonna happen.
And I personally think that that's what's kind of going on. Is there's going to be a change. We're going to slowly see Rivera kind of fade out and kind of go away.
Could be as soon as next season, to be honest.
Yeah. I have questions about their quarterbacks. What is Sam Howell? Is he good? Is he bad? Do we know?
Well, the thing is, you're right. It is a question mark on if we know. But I'll only say this. Heineke, the guy that was their quarterback last year, is the one that vouched for Howell. Heineke's been around the NFL and in and out of like even other leagues for a long time before he was on the Commanders. He vouched for the kid and went, no, I see talent in him. That's the reason why they even put him into a game at all to play. If a vet who has been there, done that, says he has the talent, in my mind, I think Sam Howell could be a good quarterback. That doesn't mean he will be. It just means he has the talent. He has to hone it. So, with that being said, I'm interested. I'm interested to see what happens.
They added Forbes to an already stacked secondary. Not many other changes offensively and defensively right now. I'm very interested to see what they do.
Yeah,
I don't know what it'll be.
Probably not that good. Like, I could be completely blunt with you. Like, this is going to be a team that'll be fun to watch, but they're probably not going to be very good unless Sam Howell is like Tom Brady levels.
Way better than we think he is.
Yeah. Like, if he turns out to be like, if he ends up being Big Cock Brock version, except for the Commanders style, like, I think we're not going to get that high. But I'm very interested because, like, the team on paper is actually not really that bad. And even, like, coaching staff-wise, not that bad. The thing that's held Washington back so long is really their ownership. Their ownership has just been fucking awful for so long.
And now it hasn't officially taken all the way over yet, but they do have new owners. Yep. And over the next couple of seasons, we could see a new Washington team. Let's hope.
And I think that's why I'm excited to watch, because I know that, like, while this team is rough now, this is a team that's going to continue to be honed over the next couple of seasons. It'll be interesting to see what's kept and what's cut, basically, from this.
I agree.
It's just going to be fun to watch.
I firmly agree with you. All right, what do you have? Ceiling, floor?
So, ceiling, I have, if everything goes well, Sam Howell is like, damn near Tom Brady levels. Still doesn't matter. The team's probably not good enough. I give them a ceiling of 9 wins, to be completely honest with you, and a floor of 4. Because, like, everything could fall off the rails real fast with this team.
I'm pretty much in the same camp. I have a ceiling of 9 and a floor of 5. We're pretty much agreed on this. This could go decently well, but it could also completely come apart at the seams very quickly.
Yeah.
I have no idea which one we're going to see. Either way, we're either going to see a train starting to leave the station or jump the track and obliterate everything. And either way, I'm not going to be able to stop watching.
No, it'll be fun to watch. Sometimes train wrecks are more fun to watch than trains departing.
There you go. Switching gears to the AFC East now. As we mentioned, we both believe that there is one team that's on the top of the AFC East, or on top of each East division. In this case, I don't think that team has changed. I think everybody knows who it is. We're going to talk about it real quick. It's the Bills. Last season, passing offense, 9th. Rushing offense, 9th. Passing defense, 9th. Rushing defense, 4th.
Exactly.
Damn it, they couldn't be 9th. That would be hilarious, by the way. Now, they did add in the draft, offensively. They added Osiris Torrance to the line. They added Dalton Kincaid at tight end. They picked up Leonard Floyd to the linebacking core in free agency. Man, they are absolutely primed for a run. You've got to figure out the Diggs situation if there is one. And I don't know if there is one or not, but you've got to get that figured out. You maybe want to figure out your running back situation, and you still have to complete with the Bengals and Chiefs for the AFC crown. Good luck. I think you're going to need it.
And don't forget the newcomers that are knocking on your door called the Jets.
Then
let's not forget
we'll
that.
Get to them next.
I know we'll get there, but I'm just saying we can't knock, like...
Yeah, you can't...
Unfortunately for the Bills, there's one other team in your division that got really good really fast.
Yeah, at least for a couple of years.
So
we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah. So while you're at the top now, you better be holding on, because I'm telling you, the Jets are the bull below you right now, and they're trying to buck your ass off.
They really are. So my ceiling for them is 13. My floor is 10. Do you have anything to add before you give your ceiling and floor?
Well, my biggest issues with the Bills is, as much as I love Josh Allen, he is definitely their QB of the future. He still makes mistakes that, in his age at this point, I don't mean as in like he's old, but like he's just NFL career-wise, he shouldn't be making anymore. And he's also using too much of his body, which very much concerns me, because he's such a big dude. I get that he can take those hits, but just like Cam Newton, you take those hits too many times, you're going to retire earlier than you think you are.
Matt Stafford, too.
Stafford lasted a little longer, thankfully, but
he also wasn't running a whole hell of a lot either.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's even worse for them. So I worry about that with Allen as well. It's going to take just one big hit, one big injury. Look at what happened to Dak. I'm just saying. I worry about it. However, as long as that doesn't happen, I agree that we have a ceiling of 13 wins, and I have a floor of 10, because I'd be shocked to see them go below double digits.
I would as well, personally. I don't think that they would.
If they would have to have a
catastrophic injury to Josh Allen.
Yeah, like that's what I was gonna say. The only way that happens is if like Allen basically breaks his leg, like a la Burrow in his first season.
Blows out his ACL or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, since we mentioned them, let's talk about those Jets.
The bull right beneath the legs
remember,
of the
you're going to have to take every number I'm about to give you with salt, because most of them
big salt.
Yes. Passing offense, 14th. Rushing offense, 25th. Passing defense, 3rd. Rushing defense, 17th.
It's funny to think about those numbers and realize that all of the weak numbers they got really good at.
Maybe not rushing defense as much, but
True.
they did add
rushing
some
defense,
stuff there. But they definitely improved. And now I think they would have been better on rushing offense, but they lost.
Their running back early.
They lost their running back very, very early on in the season. Now they've traded for Aaron Rodgers. They've added Alan Lazard, Mecole Hardman, and Randall Cobb. They kept a decent defense together. They added Quentin Jefferson up front and Adrian Amos in the back. Look, they are definitely going to challenge the Bills for the divisional title.
They're knocking on that door. Yep.
They are absolutely knocking on the door. You got anything else that I missed?
I mean, The only thing I'm going to add to it, which is, a lot of people have been questioning, like, how good's the trade? Is Rodgers going to work? Everything I've heard coming out of the Jets camp is nothing but sunshine and fucking rainbows, and that should scare the shit out of anyone in that division. Because if Aaron Rodgers is sunshine and rainbows, he's going to be balling.
For once, he's happy again, and he's going to go all out to prove that, Green Bay fucked up.
Yeah.
Real quick aside, there have been people in the Green Bay locker room who have said that Jordan Love is the best QB they've ever played with.
I feel like they're only saying that because they have to.
I would hope so. I would hope they're not that dumb.
Either that or it's true, and that's even scarier.
That might very well be. So, my ceiling for them is 12. My floor is 10.
So, I have a ceiling of 13 and a floor of 10. That's how much they're knocking on the door for me. They're mimicking, basically.
I think this is going to be a very interesting season in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Miami.
God, I love you and hate you at the same time.
I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but they are so fun to watch.
They make so many good decisions, and then their ownership will do something just minorly dumb that ruins everything.
So let's talk about that, because this is going to be hilarious. Passing offense, 4th. Rushing offense, 26th.
Yep.
Passing defense, 27th. Rushing defense, 6th.
Sounds about right.
Now, they definitely improved their cornerback rooms by adding both Jalen Ramsey and Cam Smith. That definitely takes that 27th ranked passing defense. It should make it a lot better.
Should make it closer to average, yeah.
Yeah. The offense mostly remains intact and completely untouched. They didn't have a lot of draft picks this year, and they had to give up their first round draft pick for tampering.
Good job!
Look, they should be a decent team if Tua can hold up. That's the big question. If he holds up, they should be good. You got anything else you want to add?
Well, there's a couple things. So as far as Tua is concerned, that is a big one. He can't be going down. First off, the first thing you need to do is you need a good O-line to make sure that he doesn't get destroyed every time he runs back to pass.
That's a thing, yeah.
Second, what I've seen is that Tua has apparently been taking, I think, which one was it? Not kickboxing. What was it? Muay Thai or something? It was one of the ones with a lot of throws. I don't remember which one it was. One of the martial arts where there's maybe it's one of the martial arts that actually is where there's a lot of throwing, hip throws and throwing and getting knocked down and knocked around a lot.
Either judo or jujitsu.
It might be judo. But apparently he's been training to basically learn how to basically properly fall, more or less, which is, smart because, like, if you get knocked over, the last thing you want to do is, smack my head on the floor. So it is smart that he's learning how to properly protect himself if he does get pushed to the ground. And I think that will actually help quite a bit, to be honest, because I have heard that is a real thing. If you can learn how to properly protect yourself when you fall.
100%.
It sounds ridiculous because it sounds funny as hell. Like, I gotta learn how to actually hit the ground properly. Like, it sounds hilarious. So it's a real thing.
It is a real thing, and part of the reason it is a real thing is because most people want to put their hands out to stop themselves. It's a great way to break yourself. You need to roll with the fall, one way or the other.
Exactly.
If you can ball up a little bit and roll with it, you're going to be better off.
You can access the energy that way. Exactly. Yep. So I think that will help, at least if he does continue to get hit, he'll at least hopefully be able to properly roll with it better and not get just slamming his head on the fucking concrete, basically.
Tuck your chin.
So I think that will... Tuck your chin, exactly. I think that will help a lot. And then, obviously, we can't weigh it in, but it has to be said that there is still the Dolphins trying to fix their running situation. Potentially by seeking a running back in the free agency at the moment. It hasn't happened. It might not still happen. But if it does happen, just know that would make them substantially higher on my list than they currently are.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think that's all I really needed to add to that. I have a ceiling of 11 because I think that they could still contend. They could still put up good numbers. They definitely did last year. But if Tua continues to get injured and still has issues, or if their running game still has big problems, we could still see a floor of like 9 games.
I'm a little more pessimistic than you. I have their ceiling at 10 because I do believe that if Tua stays healthy, they could contend. But you're in a really tough division all of a sudden, especially with the Jets having gotten just all of a sudden leaps and bounds better. And they were better than you a little bit last season. Almost. I think you...
Almost, not quite.
The Dolphins made the playoffs.
The Dolphins made the playoffs.
Just missed it.
Just missed it, yep.
Yeah. So, but they have now leapfrogged way past you.
They have,
and you haven't done nearly as much, in my opinion. So ceiling of 10, floor of 7, because if Tua gets hurt again badly, I don't like it. I don't like your chances. I don't like looking at it. I think it's going to be bad for you.
That's fair.
Especially considering how tough your division is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, moving on to the most question mark filled team, in my opinion. And this is after Tua and the Dolphins questions.
I know, right?
New England.
What are you doing?
Last year, passing offense, 21. Rushing offense, 24. Passing defense, 17th. Rushing defense, 7th.
Yeah, they were only kind of good at one thing.
Yeah. Now, they have an actual offensive coordinator again.
True. Not
a defensive guy trying to call offense.
Which I don't know why they thought that was ever going to work.
They added Riley Reif to the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They snagged the consensus best cornerback in the draft with Christian Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
Look, if Mac can play like he did somewhat his rookie year again, and instead of regressing, step back up to that form, you could be decent.
Yeah.
I think very sadly they play in a really tough division, and I just don't think they're ready to contend yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Mac Jones could make a step forward again back, and even could make even another step forward to actually improve. And even if that did happen, it's still not even close to enough to contending in this division. The rest of the team is just not there. And to be completely honest, it's almost kind of deserved, to be honest, because if you last as long as they did in a dynasty, you're going to have some low lows following it. And this is them low-lowing it, trying to rebuild. That's what happens.
Yeah, you kept that dynasty and Tom together for a long time, longer than you had right to. And you won way more than anybody ever has. Now you're on that downswing. Now you're going to have to wait a little bit to climb back up out of those doldrums. Yeah, the rest of your division got way better while you were getting last draft picks and winning titles. Yep. Now all of their talent is maturing, and you're like, ooh, fuck, ours is aged out.
Ours is all aged out, yep. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I think the Patriots aren't bad. They're not a bad organization. Bill Belichick, like a lot of people are like, oh, is he losing his touch? No, he just doesn't have the players he had before. And the fact that he's even taking the teams that he has and making okay successes out of them is pretty impressive still if you look on paper for what he's been given. So he clearly is still producing, and Kraft is going to give him the longest of leashes because, duh. So
also,
I have
faith. Add Juju?
Did they add Juju?
I think they added Juju.
Because I know Juju was on the Chiefs and then he got cut.
Yeah,
he might have.
He left after the Super Bowl win.
Yeah, the only one that would.
Him. I think Juju.
Oh yeah, they didn't resign him. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense if he went anywhere. That would make sense. That would make sense.
I think he went to the Patriots. I like Mecole Hardman was on the Chiefs and he left, and he went as we mentioned, he went to the Jets. He's going to play with Aaron Rodgers now.
Yeah, I could see that because like the problem that I have had with Juju is the fact that he's a social media troll who needs to get the hell off. And I think if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Bill Belichick to teach him how to be a proper player. Because Juju is way too self-absorbed, to be honest with you. He really is. And it, I think, hurts his productivity. But that's just me. Anyways, I'm curious to see what happens because I have faith that Bill Belichick can still do okay, but it's a bad team. I'm sorry. It's a weak team in a strong division. Your ceiling is going to be probably 8 wins at best, and your floor is probably, it's Bill Belichick, probably still sitting around a 6 unless injuries happen.
So you're pretty close to me on that one. I have them at about a ceiling of 9. If Mac takes that extra step forward, if Gonzalez turns out well, if the receivers play well, there's a lot of ifs. If Ramondre Stevenson does what he was starting to do at the end of last season, you have some things there. You have an actual offensive coordinator now, so I say 9 wins for a ceiling. But I agree with you on the floor. 6 is probably like if everything goes to shit. 6.
Yeah.
I still think Bill Belichick could coach 6 wins out of that team, but
oh yeah,
it's gonna be
rough.
So, couple of last minute notes before we wrap up. First off, rest in peace to Ryan Mallett, who we did miss that last week. I apologize. I had wanted to bring it up. I forgot. He apparently died. And I don't know if there was an autopsy release, and I don't know that anybody knows exactly what happened. But sadly, he passed away very young. I always thought he had more tools than he showed, but apparently he never really did for the NFL, which is kind of sad. I wasn't a big, I was always a big fan of his. So, and then we'll end it with some interesting statements from somebody who's been known to make dumb statements for most of his life. We're going to talk about Dennis Rodman. Do you already know what I'm going to talk about?
I don't, but I hear Dennis Rodman, and I already know it's going to turn into a shit show real fast.
So Dennis Rodman recently was asked about some things, and he was asked about, playing against Larry Bird, and he said, I don't really have that much respect for Larry. If he played today's NBA, he'd be lucky to make it in NBA Europe.
Oh, Dennis. Sweet summer child.
Well, I think what's going on there is there's a bit of bias because Dennis did play with the Bad Boy Pistons.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I honestly think Larry would almost have more fun in today's NBA because he was already an aggressive player. Now he gets to be even more aggressive. Let's be honest. He would probably have more fun.
So, Dennis says things and you just go,
Dennis, are you okay in the head? To be fair, the answer is typically no.
The typical answer is no. But you know what? I won't begrudge him his opinion, and it does give us a talking point. And you know what? I love it for that.
He's at least an interesting person.
He's an interesting weirdo. I love him to death. And I first really got to be interested in and laugh at him back in the days when he actually learned how to wrestle, and he appeared on several WCW events alongside Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
And then they got they got Dennis Rodman and Karl Malone into a wrestling ring. Are you fucking kidding me?
Listen, as much as I can bash on Rodman for being a complete and utter moron, he's at least entertaining.
You know what? Some of the dumbest people on Earth are the most entertaining to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Now, whether he knows that himself, I don't know, but I don't care.
I'm going to hate to say this. That's why Donald Trump had The Apprentice for so long.
That was partially true. The thing is, it wasn't even entertaining just for him either. It was like everyone that was on the show was just stupid too.
You all lived just to hear this. But you know what? You're fired.
You're fired.
You're fired.
You're fired.
You're fired.
You're fired.
Everybody loved that. That was.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
I hate to say that, but everybody got a chuckle out of that.
Oh yeah.
He's an entertaining individual.
He
I
can
think
be.
He's a
yeah.
really horrible person, but he's also entertaining. And I won't say
a lot of politicians are really horrible people.
Oh
to be fair,
yeah,
but
I'm not saying that. I mean, absolutely.
Let's make it clear that we hate them all equally.
Oh yes, they found cocaine in the White House this week.
Jeez, I wonder who that could have been.
Isn't he in jail though?
No.
I thought he was. No, that's right. He took a plea bargain.
Not at the time he wasn't.
He took a plea bargain. I was also going to say, it doesn't surprise me. I would bet there's a great amount of the White House staff that do a shitload of coke.
Oh, probably. Granted, probably most of them don't bring it into the White House. They probably do it before they go in the White House. But, you know.
Somebody must have needed an extra bump to get through the night.
Fucking hell. I can't go to bed.
The president needs us in the morning.
Oh! I'm sorry. Okay. Anyways, regardless,
Okay,
yeah, all
we're good.
Politicians, dumb. Anyways. You shouldn't be getting paid as much as you guys get paid. What the hell? Anyways, that being said.
Well, and it's funny because I actually put a meme up years ago and I just ran across it again from Facebook, which is it's two things. You know what liberals think people on welfare look like, and what conservatives think people on welfare look like, and it's the typical what those two sides think, and then what actual people on welfare look like, and it shows Congress.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Fucking Congress. Man.
Fucking Congress.
Yeah, we pay all you motherfuckers.
And they don't do shit.
They basically.
I really want to call my congressman and be like, you never do anything for me.
What do you even do?
What do you even
What's your job? Tell me what you do day to day. I want to know where all of my money is going day to day. What are you doing day to day with my money?
Well, and that's funny because I really, Kevin Smith once called his agent and said, you never do anything for me. And his agent goes, great way to start a conversation. I can tell you want something.
True. That's true. If you start a conversation that way, yeah, you probably want something.
All right, so if you do like what we do here, please give us a like, give us a subscribe. If not, fuck you. We will, we'll, give us, but that lets us know that you specifically would like, to keep seeing us and keep having us make content. So we will be back again. I am going to talk to Chris about that. I don't know exactly when we'll be back again. We will figure that out. But when we are, you better be ready, brothers. Until then, we would like to say to everybody out there, be successful at what you do, have a great week, stay bearded,